If we knew what caused sexual orientation, if I knew how to tell you how to make sure your children would be heterosexual, I would be very rich, wouldn't I? Oh, yes, my book would be translated into every language in the world. If I could write a book that guaranteed parents how to make sure your children are heterosexual, you know there would be a pamphlet that you wrote to Pueblo, Colorado for. But no one knows. And yet, the parents of heterosexual people take pride in the fact that their kids are heterosexual, and the parents of gay people sometimes have shame about it. And they think, what did I do wrong? And every report we have out says you didn't do anything wrong. We don't know what causes sexual orientation, but we believe it's really beyond the control of the parent. And we believe that if it's not set by birth, then it's certainly set by no later than age 5. Do you know at age 5 that you're gay? No. I knew at a really early age, but the mean age of recognition for boys in our culture of sexual feelings, whether you're heterosexual, homosexual, or bisexual, is 13. If you knew younger than that, that's okay, and if you knew older than that, that's okay too, but 13 seems to be the mean age according to a couple university studies. And women, for some reason, know a little bit later than that, about 15 to 17 in terms, what am I attracted to? So most of us knew as children that we had these feelings. People aren't aware of that. Most heterosexual people are not aware that we're talking about children having feelings, same-sex feelings. People talk about it being a choice that people make later. See, I want to propose to you that the horror of growing up gay, and I got to tell you, this is coming from my perspective, and I'll remind you, I'm 45, I'm a white male, I grew up Irish Catholic, the product of 16 years of parochial education, right? That's my background, so it's going to influence my interpretation of gay people's experiences. There are two symbols that are used in the gay community internationally. One is the pink triangle, and maybe you've seen the pink triangle on the back of people's cars as a decal or as a pin. Pink triangle comes from Nazi Germany when the Nazis, in their attempt to purify the race, rounded up large groups of people and sent them to their deaths in concentration camps. And each group of prisoners had a symbol. Homosexuals had the pink triangle. Jews had the Star of David, and several thousand homosexuals died in those camps. The other symbol that we use is the rainbow flag. And Ray and I, my partner of 17 years, he and I hang the flag in front of our home. And we have little decals on the back of our car. And the reason we use the rainbow flag is that gay people are black and brown and red and yellow and white. We come from every different ethnic community, every different religious community, every different political background and economic level. So I need to say that I don't speak for all gay and lesbian people, but I do believe there are common denominators to the experience of growing up as a gay, lesbian, or bisexual person. I believe that the horror of growing up gay, lesbian, or bisexual, especially if you knew since you were a child, is the horror of having a secret that you don't understand and that you're afraid to share with anybody for fear that they won't love you anymore. Let me say that again. I believe that the horror of growing up gay, lesbian, or bisexual, particularly if you knew your feelings as a child, is the horror of having a secret that you don't understand. Where were you supposed to get information on this? There are no books at home. There are no books in the library at school. There are no pamphlets in the rack outside of the guidance office. There's a little section in the dictionary, but what solace does that give you? Are you supposed to tell your parents? How does the child, a gay child, tell his or her parents that they're struggling with this issue? Particularly growing up in a world in which being gay is the worst thing the world says you can be, right? I mean, if you all were on a game show, all right, you're on a game show, folks, and you get to pick a curtain. We got curtain number 1, and we got curtain number 2 here. And behind curtain number 1 is heterosexuality. Now, you can all pick the same curtain if you want to, right? Curtain number 1 is heterosexuality, and Johnny, tell them what's behind curtain number 1. Well, behind curtain number 1, folks, you'll find dating. And you'll find proms, and you'll find engagements, and you'll find weddings that will be, we say, the most important day of your life. And you'll find family, and children, and Boy Scouts, and Cub Scouts, and brownies. And you'll find Norman Rockwell, and you'll find the church, and you'll find the flag. And you'll find 1,000 Hallmark cards, and you'll find Johnny Mathis, and you'll find 1,000 movies and 1,000 poems and 1,000 songs that support the beauty and the joy of this choice we know you're making. And you'll find family values, and you'll find patriotism, and you'll find God, and you'll find heaven. Johnny, tell them what's behind curtain number 2. Curtain number 2 is homosexuality, and let's start with hell, because that's where the world says you're going if you choose curtain number 2. The world tells you you will be forever lonely, that you will have no one with you at the end of your life. The world tells you you will be promiscuous, that God will hate you, that you won't be a dependable partner. This is what the world told us. So how is a child, first of all, who wants curtain number 1? I've never met anybody who wanted the pain and the suffering that the world tells you is behind curtain number 2. Now, in my adult life, I have learned that everything that the world promises you is behind curtain number 1 is actually behind curtain number 2, too. That you don't have to be heterosexual to have values. You don't have to be heterosexual to love God and to love your country and to maintain a loving, committed relationship. You don't have to be heterosexual to have children.